Okay, hi everybody. Now welcome to a new video which I have not actually attempted to do before, which is how to syringe feed your guinea pigs. Now syringe feeding is common in this house at the minute because of us having to feed Lottie. So I'm going to go through some of her stuff in here which has and what is used every day, 3 times a day for her. Okay, so first off is what we actually feed Lottie. Now it's Oxbow Health Critical Care. Now Critical Care is something which is a little formula and it has a lot of compositions which are, let me find them, where's English? Oh, right over this side. The composition is Timothy grass meal, soybean hulls, soybean meal, wheat germ, cane molasses, salt, papaya, pineapple, calcium carbonate, oat groats, wheat middlings, yeast and magnesium sulfate. And it's just a recovery food which you can give to herbivores for poor nutritional status resulting from injury or surgery. Now, giving critical care to your guinea pigs depends on if they're not eating completely. You can use it for a lot of other post surgeries. If you do it for post surgeries, it's a good idea just because after a surgery they're just not going to be wanting to eat a lot. They're going to be quite drowsy, and syringe feeding is recommended to do that because of their less of appetite or maybe loss of energy. So it's good just to get the right nutrients in just in case they aren't eating all of what they need to be. So critical care is good for that. And we also have some vitamin C tabs which are not in here, but we crush them up and add it to the critical care mush, so it gives her some more vitamin C as well as, and it just ends up having all the correct nutritional value that she needs to have daily. Okay, so this is actually what the critical care looks like. You have to add water to it, and this is what it looks like. We make up a new one every day, and this is the morning batch that we've already had, and she gets fed 3 times a day every day: morning, afternoon at 3 o'clock, and night time. So she gets a nice even feed throughout the day, and you have to just add the dry formula into a little container and then add water. It's 1 part critical care and 3 parts water. But obviously it depends on how much you're putting in, but the same rules apply. So this is a critical care anyway, and we've already used this morning, and it's easy to feed, and we feed her with it through this 60ml syringe with a big nozzle which we've just cleaned out, and it's a great big syringe and it's easy to push the stuff out of because the nozzle is big and it's wide, and it's easier for her to get a grip on it as well with her bad teeth. Okay, so that's the actual critical care, and this is what we use every day for her feeding. Okay, so this isn't really anything to do with syringe feeding on the food basis, but sometimes if your guinea pigs aren't feeling up to it, they may not even attempt to drink out of their water bottles or bowls. So having to syringe feed some water is a possibility. So it's recommended just to have fresh cold water in a little container or straight out of the little taps, and then syringe feed a little bit in if they want some. I mean, some may drink but some might not, so it's good just to keep them hydrated anyway as a possibility that they aren't drinking. So I think it's just a good thing just to have on standby anyway. And next we just have some little measuring spoons, and we use this to feed her if we're using some little spoon feeding, just trial it, something a bit different from syringe feeding. And we also use this just to mash up the critical care, so it's just another little accessory that you can use when syringe feeding, as I'm just showing you our little syringe feeding box for her. And we use these just to mash up the food, and if we're crushing up any pellets or any of those vitamin C tabs, this is what goes into it just to add extra nutrients. So these are the 2 syringes that we use, and after we've used them we refill them with boiling water just to disinfect it and keep it nice and clean, and then we squirt it out obviously when it's about to be used. But at the minute we are using 60ml, which obviously you can tell is a difference, and we aim to get her to have about 20 to 30 mils. On this syringe, this is just a 20ml syringe, but it's got a smaller nozzle, so it's a bit more difficult for her to grip. And we used this syringe when she had fine grind, but now we're using this one with a bigger syringe tip for the normal grind, because the normal grind is a bit more chunkier, so it gets her to nibble a bit more and have a bit of a crunch with her teeth. So it encourages her to try and eat some more, and it'll get her back to eating her pellets properly. So syringes are vital, obviously, because it's syringe feeding, but they're vital anyway, and just in case anything does go wrong, it's always good to know how to do it anyway. So this is the syringe feeding, and next we'll go on to how I actually syringe feed her, and I'll show you feeding her in person. Hello everybody, and this is the part of the video that I'm showing you that I'm hand feeding. And so really, as you can see, I'm using the 60ml syringe here, and I'm just leaning over the side of the cage just to feed her. Lottie was a bit of a pain to feed to start off with, obviously because she didn't know what was going on, didn't know how to react to it, and she felt separated from her sister, because that's what we had to do to get her to eat anything. So we had to hold her and sit her on her rump of her bottom and feed her like that. But now she's completely used to the feeding. We are doing this 3 times a day, and I think this is how it's going to have to be for the rest of the time that we own her, because she can't really go through another teeth surgery, as it's just so not fair on her. I would love to do it, and she is eating and her progression is coming on a lot, but she's got so much friendlier. Her attitude to eating is getting better every day. She's taking nibbles of the carrots and the pellets, and it's just coming along really well. But syringe feeding is very important if your guinea pigs aren't eating for whatever reason. You must take them to the vets, because like Lottie, she could have overgrown teeth. The front teeth may look fine, but the back teeth may be a bit overgrown, a bit like what Lottie's were. Hers got trimmed down, and it took her about 2 months to get to where she is now, with hand feeding every day. She gets fed in the morning, afternoon and night time, and we can't really go anywhere because we have to feed her, which is a bit of a nuisance, because you can't really ask anyone else to do it for you. But I don't mind, because she's happy, she's eating something at least, and she's coming along okay. And she gets so much more friendly. She jumps up at the side of the cage, and she's so much more energetic, which is a great thing to see in an old pig like Lottie. Her sister's still eating all of her veg and everything else, so she's perfectly fine. But syringe feeding, you only have to do little bits like by little bits. I squeeze just a little bit by a bit, so just squeeze about half of one of these little lines on the syringe each time, and she manages just to lick it off. This syringe is a good syringe because it's got a long nozzle. We bought 2 extra syringes like this yesterday, with an extra bag of critical care, which is another £30. And altogether, how much we spent on her is probably £90 at the vets, with vet treatment, prescription antibiotics and stuff like that, so about £90 altogether for that. And then we've probably spent over £160 just on critical care food. So it's very expensive, but she's getting along fine. But syringe feeding is vital, and it just takes a long time to get over something. So, yeah. So syringe feeding is really important for herbivores and herbivores, and well, any animals really, but critical care is made just for herbivores, and this is what these are. Lily, you're so noisy. Let's get some carrot. There you go, eat that. That might shut you up a little bit. So anyway, as you can see now, she just finished off that syringe. She had about 30 in that syringe, and she's gone down really nicely and quickly. But also, to prevent teeth from overgrowing, having cardboard tubes, wooden items and toys in your cage is a good idea, as they will chew and they will be able to chew it down and hopefully wear down their teeth a little bit better. And I'm so sorry about the mess of the cage. I know it looks absolutely dreadful and very embarrassing to put on camera, but I thought now, just because I was feeding her before we clean them out, it would be a perfect opportunity to do it. So anyway, here's the little box again, which we feed her with, which has got her little measuring spoons to mix it all together, her 60ml syringe, her little 20ml syringe, her new big bag of normal grind critical care, and her little mixed up batch of critical care. And also in our little drawer here, these are the syringes and the make of the syringes that we have. It's Netex, and they get these off Biovet, and it's a massive 60ml syringe with the big nozzles on, so if you wanted to know which ones that was, that's it. So anyway, we've got 2 more of those, so now I've got 3 of them. And yeah, so it's really just useful to have critical care in your storage anyway, because if anything ever happens and they stop eating and you haven't got anything to feed them with, it's only a matter of hours before their bodies can gradually start to shut down. So you really need to have something in stock just in case anything does happen. And I mean, not to scare anybody, but it is really important that you have something. Luckily I had it just in time for when Lottie actually stopped eating, and it was a massive shock, but luckily I was prepared. But for a lot of people it is quite difficult, because critical care is very, very expensive from different places. The big bag that costs £30 from Biovet, RRP is at £58, I believe, and that's a hell of a lot of money for a small bag like that, really. But now she's just dozing off in the bed, but she really enjoys it, and it's really just helped keep her alive, really. And I just wanted to do this little video on how I do it and everything like that, and just show you what I have to syringe feed. But it's a great thing to have, so in your storage you should always have some critical care. There are other types of formulated feed that you can have. I'll have to get the brands up for you, and I'll put them in the description box if I can find them. But it's a really useful thing to have just in case, because you never know what's going to go wrong. So okay, well, thank you very much for watching. I know it's not a very long video, but that's really what I wanted to talk about. So thank you very much. Are you posing, Lily? Are you posing? Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.